Smith's finally given in. She's called off the strike.
And here we go. This is episode 195, if I remember correctly. Oh, by the way, I'm Val Lehman.
And I'm Amanda Muggleton.
Who did you play, Amanda? I don't remember you.
Oh, no, let me think. Well, I played Chrissie Latham, didn't I? I talked like that all the time, and all I ever said was, "What about my baby, Bea?"
Yeah, pathetic Cockney, yeah.
Once I got it, was pathetic Cockney, wasn't it?
No, it was lovely. You did lovely Cockney.
Oh, this is such fun seeing this again. It really is.
Hello. There you are.
And there's the man who is the father of my child.
No, he's the guy that slipped it through the...
He slipped it through the bars.
That
was the rumour. Because seriously, we just got the script and it said, Chrissie Latham is pregnant. It came out of nowhere. She is pregnant. Who, we all said? Fletch the Lech, I said.
Well, even he wonders, because he asked you later on in the episode if he's the father.
He does in this episode.
So he doesn't remember either.
Now, that little baby is one of a twin, and it's Ian Costello's children, who was the man who built all the set. And it was great to have identical twins, because if one was screaming and shouting and being or wet, being in pain, we got the other one in, and nobody knew the difference. They were beautiful. And they're now dear little girls who I know very, very well. They're now, of course, 28, 29.
This is written by the wonderful Denise Morgan too. Did you notice that?
The best, our favourite.
Yes, absolutely our favourite.
Favourite writer. Where did she get that jewellery from?
Yes. Oh, you're no longer a prisoner at this stage. That's why you've got jewellery on.
I know.
Yeah. You probably stole it.
Do you know what's really weird? What they put me in, look, the black and yellow check.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost identical to the yellow kind of check shirts that we had inside.
Well, wardrobe department wasn't long on imagination, I have to say.
Mind you, the first girl was Jennifer.
Yeah, when she wasn't
dancer.
having her pits and parts waxed.
You can't say that.
I just did.
She used to bring all sorts of things in. She was a
belly dancer.
She used to be shaving.
Literally.
She'd had shows that night. And
so
she'd be shaving everything.
She wouldn't be shaving it. She'd have the makeup girls waxing them, I remember. Didn't matter who walked to the tunnel, there she was.
Yeah.
Having her pits and parts waxed. Jennifer Carmen.
Yeah, I think it was the lunch.
But she was naughty, I had a problem with her. She had all the extras doing the ironing. She did, I swear. And I actually sort of stepped in and said, "Excuse me," and then not paid time.
They were so loyal, our extras. They were fantastic. And if you look in the background, look, see now what's her name? She's fabulous.
Hazel something.
No, it's
There's
not
real
Hazel. No,
isn't it?
that's the girl. She had her own musical theatre company.
She's gone. She's gone. She's died. Yes.
Yeah. She was a dear, dear girl.
You wouldn't do it, and if Mr. Andrews had, then the classes would have been stopped for everyone.
I'm not against projects for you.
Look how young Judith McGrath looks.
I know.
Isn't that amazing?
And of course now she's in All Saints, and she's
doing
fabulous
good.
in
Yeah,
it.
I think she lends that show a lot of integrity. Actually,
she's one of the best things in it. But it's what's so wonderful about Prisoner is that it's full of theatre-trained actors who really know what they're doing, and it shows.
That's one of the very first things I noticed when I picked up the first 3 scripts, looking at the cast. I thought, my God, these are all theatre actors.
Well, that's due to Ian Bradley, who knew that good actors are the ones who know how to command attention.
And to create a character quickly and do our own homework.
Yes.
And also the fact that we all spoke the same language because we were all theatre trained. I think that helped enormously.
Yeah.
What do you think when you watch 20 years ago and yourself on the screen?
I love it. It makes me realise I can look like that again. With a bit of help. No, I can't get over, how slim I look there.
Funny about that.
Because I don't look that now. I mean, I'm still reasonably slim, but how do you keep your figure like that? Like a whippet, It's terrible.
You don't eat. You don't have any fun.
I did eat.
Oh, no, Paris was doing all right.
Fiona Spence.
Except she has no brain. Yes, marvellous Fiona.
One of my favourite lines I ever had to say was, "Here, let's put vinegar tits in one of them hot dryers, and when we pull her out, she'll be all hot and pink and fluffy, like one of them dunny seat covers."
Did you write that line yourself?
No, it was there. I loved it. That and what about my baby, Bea? But Bea, what about my baby? That's all I said in millions of different ways.
Yes, one of the most repeated lines I ever said was "Shut up, Phyllis."
Who was Phyllis?
Raylene Pierce.
Oh, Raylene
No one
Pierce.
really.
Oh, she is. She was good. She was a 50-worder, wasn't she?
I am not prepared for that thing to grow any wider between the inmates and the officers. She was only
We shall
acting as
talk
our
later.
spokesman.
Look
That's her
at
job and we
Fiona.
nominated
God,
her
she
to do
was
it. She's
gorgeous.
one of
She
the
was
best
just a
officers we've
lovely
got.
actress.
So if you hold back her
Is she still working? She's still working,
Yeah,
isn't she? I
yeah.
think, yes.
that will be all, thank you, Miss Bennett.
Yeah, Marva's character.
Yeah. That's why they brought Maggie Kirkpatrick in the end to take over from Fiona, wasn't it?
That's right,
They wanted
yes.
someone
They needed
really
another
tough.
very strong
Yeah.
character.
That's Raylene, isn't it?
That's Raylene, yes. Mm.
Crikey, what have you been doing in the workshop?
Our way of telling the screws.
Well, did you notice who directed this one, by the way?
That's real bright.
Who's it?
Marcus Cole.
Oh, Marcus, yes.
Do you remember the storyline with the Sting, where Sheila Florence had to learn all this sort of stuff about horse racing, and she didn't understand a single word of it? And she got so angry, and she said, "Who wrote this bloody rubbish?" and came from the control room. Actually, I didn't. It was Marcus Cole who was also directing it.
Oh, good on her. God, I miss Sheila.
Oh, so do I.
That face. What a wonderful character she was.
What an incredibly generous person, too.
Yeah.
But going to her home for a meal, though, was hazardous. She'd nail your feet to the floor and force feed you food and alcohol.
And drink, yeah. She loved to drink.
Hate a drink.
Yeah.
So what we do is we make them earn their pay. And by the time we finish with them, they will be begging for transfers out of here.
What about that tour we did overseas?
In England?
Yeah.
Oh, with
Sheila,
Carol
Carol
Burns,
Burns,
yes.
you, me.
yeah. And Anna Soubry was the interviewer.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. God, we had an amazing
Remember
tour.
riding around in that coach all around Derby?
Yeah.
And going to and having afternoon tea in the mayor's parlour?
Oh, God, yes. Yeah. But we went from everywhere. We went to London, Edinburgh, Liverpool,
Yes, we opened at
Manchester.
Wimbledon, didn't we?
God, you've got a memory, haven't you?
It was Wimbledon Theatre. We opened
Was it?
that. Yeah.
I thought it was much closer in than that.
No, Wimbledon, definitely.
Oh, God, you've never seen so many fans in all your life.
Oh, incredible.
It was scary. What about when we arrived at
When you arrived
Manchester?
at the airport? Oh, I
We
didn't
had
get
to
that.
have
I was already
police.
living there.
We had to have police escorts. It was mayhem. They were all dressed like screws and prisoners, and looking like me because they knew I was coming, or looking like Sheila, or looking like Val, or Meg. You know, and they had the full uniforms, completely made. They were fantastic.
Have you any idea what those uniforms are worth now on eBay?
Who's got them?
Well, a shirt, for instance, that I wore, we think that I wore, went at auction a couple of years ago for $1,000.
Why didn't we get some of them?
Why don't we make some? You can end up in a real
look,
prison
this
if you're not careful.
beautiful Michael Long. He died of was it cancer?
Cops have got to prove I really am.
It's
Or
sad how many of
leukemia.
these people have already have
Looking
gone,
at it,
isn't
it's
it?
just unbelievable. And look at my hair. That's my natural hair, my colour. Not the colour, the curl.
You look like Farrah Fawcett Fidget.
Oh,
That is
poor
your natural
Chrissie.
colour, though, isn't it?
No, this what I've got now is
I
my-
didn't think so, yeah.
Yeah, but
Suits
that was
you,
a good
that's-
colour. That
that's
was a
fabulous colour.
strawberry blonde. And when the roots came through, it didn't look so bad.
You might be the best
Because I'm,
reference
you know,
I've ever
quite
Well, you're
dark.
playing the sort of characters that would expect to have a hair sort of,
Blonde.
bleached or blonde. Or,
Yeah.
mm.
I love this. I mean,
That's a natural
what
blonde,
is
that one.
Meg doing being so lovely to me when I killed her husband in the second episode with a pair of scissors?
Oh, well, you see, the person who wrote this actual episode never
Didn't
saw
know.
that one.
Never saw that episode. We are the best of friends. She fights to the death for me now, even though I killed her husband
stuck with me
With a
forever.
pair of scissors.
in the riot. Do you
That's
remember?
right, yes.
I've got to hang on to every
Oh, it's because
I'm
she's,
still the same. I still have to hang on to every penny.
Dads, you know, but
it's 'cause she's a good screw.
Irish.
Who's a good screw?
Meg Morris.
I thought you were talking about Chrissie Latham. I'm sure I was.
No, she's just a willing screw.
A screw loose she was.
I never thought much of you at
I
first,
loved it.
you know.
I never thought much of you at first.
I mean, I liked you and all of that. But I only said I was going to
When you stuck it through the bars.
you know.
I know.
You still said
You have to irate this commentary.
I reckon you was
Oh
worth
no,
waiting for.
you'll have to cut it out. You can't.
I'm so glad you did, Nick.
Oh, she's trying to be sweet.
Just
there's not a lot of talking happening now because Amanda Muggleton is too busy watching herself.
Do you reckon you might wait for me?
Oh, look, a bit of lipstick.
And I'm yawning because I'm not in the scene.
Besides, you haven't finished Elizabeth's room yet, have you? You're not getting away with that, you know.
I listen to the music in the background.
Chrissie, I want you to be straight with me.
Was it Tony Ossica that used to do the music?
Isn't she?
Who?
Ossica.
Yes,
He used to do the
I
music.
think so, yeah.
So now how's that from memory?
See that mole? I've still got that mole. And I used to black it forever. You know, but I don't bother now. I should. Make it black.
It's a nice scene, that, actually. Very touching.
No, it's Denise Morgan.
Well, yes, she does know how to write, that lady.
Oh, poor Chrissie. It never worked out for her. Ever.
Now, what happened to Chrissie in the show, eventually?
Sent off to Barnhurst.
Oh, she's in Barnhurst. Did she get burnt up in the fire as well?
No.
Oh,
No.
how come you missed out?
I'm alive. I'm still alive. Bring me back from the dead. Here we go.
Now, for all you British viewers, there is absolutely no truth to the rumour that Erica Davidson and Maggie Thatcher shared the same hairdresser.
Except when they overlap, Mrs. Powell.
But only if staff conditions are affected. And that doesn't happen too often. And of course, it's a majority vote.
Would you say that you are a stickler for regulations?
Yes, of course.
Then
You know how proper Patsy King is and how well educated. Actually, her whole attitude to me changed overnight when she discovered that she and I was the only Church of England girls' grammar school students in the cast. Because prior to that, I sometimes tend to treat me as if I had the same socio-economic background as Bea Smith. You shouldn't like it when I'd say, you know, you're using, whoever wrote that line, the grammar's incorrect. I would alter it. Or suggest that it was altered.
Now sweat.
Great. Bev. Come on, you like
Look,
it,
there she
Craig?
is, the only one who actually knows how to use a wrench.
Finish with them, will ya?
Look, perfect hiding place. Look, ram those shicks down as hard as you can. I want those motors burning out.
God, I wish
today,
I still
not in
weighed
3
that
weeks'
little.
time.
At least they can't chuck us all in the pound.
I'll be able to touch us full stop. It's lucky this junk's lasted so long.
Your hair's a good colour there too.
Very dimly lit, that scene, isn't it?
It always was.
Is that when they had that wanky Englishman out still doing the lighting?
I don't know. Who was that?
Well, they brought him out special light to do the lighting, don't you remember? I do.
In fact, this whole episode is a bit dark.
I tell you what, I was actually standing, this has happened on 2 occasions, behind the steam press, and there was so little light on my face, I was looking at the monitor, that I lit a cigarette lighter under my chin. And the director said, I think Miss Lehman's trying to tell us something. And next thing I know, they changed the lighting. You could see me. It was great. And then the second time I did it, I just reflected the light on my face with the bottom of the Ajax can. Cut, stop tape, Miss Lehman's not happy with the light. I was naughty.
Look at the smoking going on. You're
Yes,
just
isn't
not
that
allowed to do that.
incredible?
And of course, I've never smoked in my life. And there are scenes in the early days. I don't think I did it because they couldn't keep up with me vomiting. I can't smoke. It's really weird.
Well, I actually gave up smoking for 1.5 years when I was doing this show, and I asked them, begged them to write a storyline where Bea Smith gave up smoking, and they refused to. And they actually wrote the cigarettes into the script.
I just recently did a show with the MTC, and one of the characters was supposed to smoke all the way through it. You are not allowed to smoke on stage. This was the Fairfax Theatre in Melbourne, which is really small, and Richard Piper had to do everything but light the cigarette, which was very funny, you know, all the business that he got around it.
Well, I wonder how
you think, in this, look how many people are smoking.
I wonder what sort of a mess that makes of plays too, like, for instance, Streetcar Named Desire.
And Educating
when she uses
Rita.
the got a ciggy thing,
Yeah.
you know, to seduce Stanley.
Private Lives is another one where she smokes.
Yes.
But Educating Rita, she smokes about 8 cigarettes in the first act. It's crazy. I don't know what they're going to do. Oh, I look good in black.
Are you allowed to sort of, you know, inject drugs into your veins on stage?
Probably not.
Substitute that instead.
about bloody time. We reported the breakdown 10 minutes ago. You know, the screws are holding up our production line.
I got rid of all them things you told me to, Bea.
Good. That'll keep them going.
One of the things I find amazing when we're actually watching these episodes is how different my character seems to be from episode to episode over the years.
Yeah.
Seems to have broken down, Vera.
Kind of depends on who was writing the particular...
You were very strong, Val. It was a fabulous character.
Oh, it was a great character. She was fun to play. She was never wrong. Who wouldn't want to play her?
Yeah.
But Chrissie was a great character too.
Well, she could be very funny and very pathetic. Wonderful acting opportunities with Chrissie.
Yeah, we wouldn't want anything to happen.
Well, that's one of the things that I find very interesting about working in a long-running show is it really gives you the opportunity to investigate a character and to also... improve your craft, I
Yes.
think, because you're allowed, you have not only the time but the license to a certain extent to take risks and
I think what was
try new things.
What was hard is that so many different writers
Experiment.
would come in. Experiment.
That's
yeah.
the word I want.
But so many different writers were brought onto the show, and they really didn't know what your character was. They might have looked back 2 or 3 episodes, but they've never looked right back from the beginning, and that made it very hard. And you'd have to stand up for yourself and say, look, Chrissie wouldn't do that, or Chrissie wouldn't say that because in episode 94 this and this and this happened. But you were shouted down most of the time.
Well, I had a director actually say to me, this is the first episode he'd ever directed, and I had to go in and talk to a new young prisoner coming into a cell, and I walked into her cell, and all of a sudden they said, no, cut. And I get a voice over the tannoy from the control. Oh no, Val, you've lost all Bea Smith's, toughness and da-da. And I said, excuse me, why would she be being tough in this particular scene? She isn't tough all the time,
Yeah.
And this, there's no need for her. There's more than one facet to my character. How many episodes of this have you seen? And he had seen none.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Well, you should have
Excuse
said-
me, I'm on screen.
Oh, pardon me. You look quite good too for a change.
You know what I'm best at?
What are you best at?
That's all they ever taught me in that stinking hole, Oh, I don't know, it's funny. I get put inside for what I've done between the sheets. And what do I end up doing?
Folding them.
That's
a great
you
line.
get me a job. Who looks after Elizabeth then, eh?
Well, there are plenty of good day nurseries. Creches.
Oh, that's bloody lovely, that is. All I ever wanted was to bring her up by myself. Now I've got to hand her over to someone else. Well, it's just like being back in the nick. There's always someone wanting to bring you down. Oh, they just can't stand to give you an even bloody break.
Not much different today, is it? With daycare, poor women,
Well, daycare's so expensive.
Single mothers.
This is the magic thing about this show is that so many of the issues, particularly those pertaining to women, are still,
relevant today.
Yeah.
You stole from the kitchen. Contraband.
Oh, yeah? How can you tell, Vera? What do? Count the beans?
Listen to that laugh. Isn't she gorgeous?
I think this can go back to the library.
But I've just got to the romantic part.
Isn't she fabulous?
People used to get a real shock when they interviewed Sheila Florence. They expected her to sound like Lizzie Birdsworth, which was quite grand, really.
You know what was a shame that, you having been in prison for so long, and Lizzie, there should be more things in your cells that indicated that you had been there a long time.
There was a reason why
Well, they had to
that was
keep
not
changing
so.
the
No,
set.
no, this was a new. If you remember at the very, very beginning, this is actually a new prison,
Anyone to leave the workshop.
and all the other
Right.
stuff had gone. So apparently that was their justification for that.
But where are your belongings? You are allowed a certain amount of belongings, and they're just
Yeah, I know. The posters
contrabanding everything
and
now.
things
They're
on the
taking
wall,
everything away. But it's a shame it wasn't dressed better, because these women have been in there for years and years and years.
Yeah, but did you go out to Fairley Women's Prison with us?
Yeah.
But,
Wasn't that
but,
an
but,
eye-opener?
but that building was so much older, and the low ceilings and all that sort of thing. A very, very much older building, and not with brick walls in the cells either. I mean, there wouldn't be. I mean,
No.
people would be bashing their brains out on them.
What about when we went out to Pentry?
I wonder who ended up with all those Encyclopedia Britannicas in the governor's office. I used to read them occasionally when I got bored, which is frequently.
We took contraband and anything we thought could be used as a weapon, that's all.
I want to know why she had a complete set of encyclopedias in her office.
Yes, why? It should be, the law. Shouldn't it? Law books.
Yes, it should be.
I'm not.
But I will deal with that in my own way. And I do not expect my staff to act as irresponsibly as the inmates.
Yes, you've been told.
I want those tools found by morning. You can both supervise the search. I trust you will not mind a little overtime.
Trouble at mill.
Yeah.
Oh, look, this is still there, isn't it?
That wall with all those lights and the windows. It's all the fake windows. They're all still there. I've been promised one of those.
Have you?
Yeah.
I use it as a feature in my sitting room.
Pity about the workshop, though.
Most of
Now, I think our sleepwear was particularly attractive, don't you?
It was so cosy. You loved doing the bed scenes. Because it was all air conditioned in there, wasn't it?
It
We'd
was.
snuggle down.
Well, actually, it was freezing cold sometimes. I remember one day in the winter, they had all the heating turned off because we were doing a rehearsal day. And the next day, if the heating was on, the grid would crackle and make noises, so they would leave it off. So we're freezing to death.
That's why
in
doing
there.
the bed scenes was fabulous.
Grabbing the blankets off the beds to try and keep warm. And I said, I've had enough of this. So I got the whole the continuity girl's Polaroid camera and took a photograph of us all freezing to death, went charging, having asked a number of times to have the heating put on and being refused. So I went up to the head office, to the general manager's office, straight past his secretary, flopped this photograph on his desk and said, "Here, your top-rating cast are freezing to death in these studios. This is your copy. The next one goes to TV Week." Bang!
Oh,
Heating was on 10 minutes later.
Really? It was crazy though, because we were always shooting outside broadcasts in winter in summer clothes, and then in summer we'd be doing winter scenes.
Oh yes, but we were a lot luckier than Holiday Island. Remember that?
I was in Holiday Island.
Holiday Iceland.
In bikinis in that swimming pool in the height
Eating
of
ice
winter.
to stop your breath from fogging.
Yeah. Yeah, the tricks.
But I have no intention of letting you be idle until then.
Now I wonder who ended up with one of those lovely dryers.
Less pleasant duties.
I believe the steam press ended up in a gay nightclub in Sydney. Probably been trashed. Great shame. I wouldn't mind owning that now.
All you have succeeded in doing is making
Not to
your
iron,
life
as you understand.
more uncomfortable.
Oh.
3.5 years. He only had 2 months to go when he broke out.
Look at that skinny arm. There's no arm in it.
Chrissie, you've still got Elizabeth to think about.
Keep me hopes up, you mean? Just to give them the satisfaction of saying I can't have her? Oh, the bastards. I'll show them.
She's up to no good.
Smith, mop and bucket.
The times we washed that floor.
Half-litre cleanser and a scrubbing brush.
Oh, is that what they are?
I think she's up to something here. I've got this funny feeling.
Did you get under mouse?
I know that look on their face. Bees I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Those two sweat.
You want to bet? When we finish with them, they'll be too scared to come within cooey of us. I want to show them what real fears are like.
They won't just get
It always looked like a small prison, really, didn't it? Because there were always the same extras.
What I thought was really interesting is when some actresses were asked to actually sort of mop a floor, you could tell they'd never done it before in their lives. Unlike me.
Oh, it is Mouse.
Yenta.
What a great little character.
That was a terrific character. That marvellous walk.
Do you know she started as an extra?
Yes.
And it was due to Sheila Florence that she got.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was telling me this morning. She's walking my dog as we speak. And she said, Sheila went to the writers and said, look, you watch her on screen, she's really good, because she had this fabulous little character, like a mouse.
Yeah, so she had a whole lot of mannerisms that went with the character that she put into it, like that fantastic walk.
She said she based it on Commedia dell'arte, Harlequin.
Oh, right.
In the beginning, when she had to be silent, it was all like a mime act. So that's a success story, because usually they say don't ever be an extra because you never get out of being an extra. But there's one story that did.
Well, quite a few of the extras in Prisoner actually ended up getting roles, partly because they were in the show for so long and they had named characters. And I actually, because I was equity dep, as you remember, saw a director directing one of the extras, and I said, excuse me, did you just tell her what to do? You just give her a direction? She's now an actor, you'll have to pay her full amount.
Oh my God.
And jumped straight in. And they said, oh, well, I've got to, oh, well, okay, we'll pay them. So a lot of them got, well, if we're going to pay them, we might as well give them lines.
So they got 50 words, didn't they? They were known as the 50-worders, weren't they?
Barbara Youngworth is one of those people.
Is she?
Yes, she's one of those.
True, but it'd be boring.
Not that they credit me with it, I'm here to tell you.
She was a great asset to the series.
Yes, and another strong icon for the gay community.
Yes.
She's actually, interestingly enough, her character, my character, and Frankie Doyle's character, Carol Byrne's character, Frankie Doyle, were all based on one real person, but different facets of the one real person.
Oh, really?
Yes. And she actually did become a woman who ran a halfway house and started it off herself.
Really?
Yeah.
Is she still with us?
I don't know if she's still with us, but we
Did
met
you
her.
meet
She
her?
came in on the set and we met her,
Wow.
yeah.
What, had she been inside?
Yes, yes, she had, and she'd been top dog.
They start imagining all sorts of things.
She was the second lesbian character to come in, really, wasn't she, after Frankie?
Yeah, about the second lesbian character on television in the world,
Yes.
most likely. And there's, was that Colette scrubbing the floor down there, Colette Mann?
It was too quick.
Be with Smith and Bryant. They're trying the old scare tactics.
And you left them alone?
Oh, no, it's not. Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes, it is. That's Colette's bottom. These were two terrific characters together, Lizzie and Doreen.
They were both like
they were
children.
Oh, great. Yeah, like little kids they were.
Smoking
Oh,
again.
yes, puffing away.
You know, one of these days they'll give us some decent equipment.
Yeah.
Have you any idea how hard it would really be to nail a hole, make a hole
with
in a galvanised bucket like that with a dick?
The noise alone would have brought them all
You
running.
need a sledgehammer.
Well, any more than two will be taken as inciting a riot.
Well, this is just some of it. The same things happen to all
We
the
did have fun though, didn't
Oh,
we?
it was wonderful
Yeah.
fun. Look at Fletch the Lech. He went to America.
Yes, he's still living in America.
He's still living there, writing, isn't he?
I think he's writing. He does a lot of voiceover stuff still, and he also is the leading light of a local small theatre company
How do you know all
in
these
Arizona,
things?
because he rang me last time he was out to ask me about royalties, actually. And I've got his address, and I'm going to be in Arizona later this month, so I might call in on him.
Mrs. Powell, I warned you about snap decisions. You have just played right into their hands, and all you have done is given yourselves more work.
It's impossible to keep them under supervision as long as they're in pairs. We haven't got the staff to go around.
In future, I insist on everything being referred to me first.
Mrs. Davidson, it weakens an officer's authority to have to refer to you on every single detail.
This is episode, what, 195?
195. You know, one of the questions that really used to irritate me in England when we were doing that tour is about the shaking sets. I mean, I threw enough people up against those corridor walls to know whether they damn well shook or not. And they're still there, apparently, because they were right up against the exterior wall, the interior wall, but of the actual studio, which was quite large. I think the only sets that ever that did really shake if they were like Meg Morris's house or home or something like that. They were sets they sort of brought in and just constructed in the middle of the studio. But those walls that you can see now, I could hurl people up against it. They were permanent.
You've got anything to say, I want to hear.
And the doors were metal. You know, a lot of people think they were wood. They were actually metal.
And we could do all sorts of things. We used to hang on to them and shake them, didn't we?
Particularly during that riot scene, if you remember.
It was huge.
How old are they?
We scared the living daylights out of the crew, if you remember, when we did that riot scene. They were not expecting the level of energy. They took about 3 steps back.
It was very scary because at that time we had no stunt coordinators, did we?
No, we didn't.
No fight.
They had it. The
experts.
very first fight that I had with Frankie Doyle, Carol Burns. They had a stunt coordinator in, and we just sent him home.
Yeah.
Because he had no idea how women fought.
We're worried about you.
Yeah, come on, Mrs. Barry. We can't look after you properly if we're locked in here. Why don't you let us out?
Joy Westmore. Gorgeous woman.
Great comedian.
Fabulous. Very funny girl.
Yeah, very funny.
Very, very good actress.
Speaking of stunts, remember the stunt that went, the fight scene that went wrong, and I broke your nose, as you keep telling everybody.
I know. Well, it was wonderful. Her elbow caught the bridge of my nose, quite by accident. You can imagine, arms and legs going everywhere. And suddenly my nose just went with blood. And people were saying, that scene when you were having the
Very
fight.
effective.
How did they do that? How did they get that blood to come out of your nose like that?
The next morning I arrived at work and the girl at reception said, I believe you broke Amanda Muggleton's nose.
No,
I said,
it wasn't
wait till I get
broken.
her.
It was just fractured. You know, it was just a really bad...
I kept saying to you, don't put your head down, because at that point we were choreographing our own fight scene.
Yeah.
How? By letting the women do what they like?
It's amazing that more things didn't go wrong.
Well, actually, when they had a stunt coordinator in for a scene that
Yeah, and it leaves them even more.
Fiona Spence had to do, she broke a little finger.
Oh.
Try telling that to Mrs. Davidson.
At least one, only one nose broken. It's all right. I managed.
Any suggestions? Keeping in mind that we're the ones that get the blame if something goes wrong.
We have to be given free rein in controlling the women. It's as simple as that. And we have to insist that Mrs. Davidson supports us.
All those fabulous meals. Do you remember those? Macaroni
Sometimes-
cheese. I got so sick of it.
Sometimes we used to get chips, didn't we? We'd all
Yes.
hoe into the chips.
Yeah, but if we had decent food, the extras would eat it all on the first take.
They did.
And if it was really good, then the crew would get in as well.
I know. Occasionally they look at that mush. Please, sir, can I have some more? Terrible stuff.
Something's up. Yuck.
And it used to be cold. By the time you did the take, it was all cold anyway.
That's right. And fairly unpalatable to start with.
Some of that meat was all gristle, wasn't it? Look at
What's she
Mal's.
doing?
She is now, Yentasova is now a vocal coach, for doing it phonetically, helping people raise their voices, lower their voices, correcting speech impediments.
She's a very clever girl,
She
actually.
is clever. She's a great girl.
Now, see, that set, do you remember what it was also used for? It was the dining room, it was the recreation room.
Everything. They just used to change the whole set.
It was the library as well.
Yeah.
You're not kids, you're supposed to be mature women.
Oh, thanks for noticing.
You tell them, Fletch.
The only thing I've noticed, Bryant, is you're headed for trouble.
Mr.
Big
Fletcher,
trouble.
there are 2 knives missing.
Right, where are they?
Search me.
She was a great character too, that extra there in the brown jumper.
Oh, I missed him.
She was always there from the beginning.
The rest of you up against the wall, hands where we can see them. The first person to move or talk will be straight into solitary.
And that brown jumper there,
Yeah.
that's Barbara Youngworth.
Barbara, that's, of course it
She
is.
ended up with actual dialogue. She ended up,
Yes, she did, years later.
with words to say.
And the little blonde is Judith somebody, the girl that died. Judith
Oh, yes.
Lorimer? No.
Judith Lorimer, you're right.
Am I right?
Yes.
She was lovely, and her husband was lovely too. They had an amateur company
That's right, they did.
of vaudeville and
Yeah, music hall.
music hall.
The ones responsible. It's up to you.
I have to say that they did look stupid, didn't they? The screws. They were never given real power, were they?
Well, I have to say also that on one occasion, one of the prison officers was complaining about the fact that all they were ushers. Actually, it was Meg Morris, Elspeth Ballantyne, saying, all we do is usher you into the laundry,
true.
usher you into the recreation room, usher you into the dining
And
room. We're nothing but
stand around.
ushers. And I said to her, well, after all, darling, the show is called Prisoner, not Screw.
No, but eventually they gave them good storylines, didn't they?
Oh, they did.
I used to love that
Get
story
good
with Fiona
storylines.
at Vinegar Tits when you saw her, how she lived on her own.
Oh,
And
yes,
how sad
yeah.
she was, and she was drinking on her own. And
You remember when they brought her little dog in?
Yeah.
It wasn't her, it was Vera found a little dog, I think, that's
Yeah.
right. And it was actually her real dog,
Yeah.
little King Charles Spaniel.
Well,
And
she
it
bred
was,
them, didn't she?
That's right, she did breed them. And she locked it, it had to be locked in a cupboard. And it was supposed to cry and whimper, and it wouldn't, so I did the voiceover for it. I didn't get paid any extra either.
Stop it, Val.
I should put that on my CV, shouldn't I? Whimpering.
Dog whimpering.
But if we don't break these women now, we can't answer for the consequences.
I don't expect you to. However, I do expect my staff to remain calm. And as far as breaking the women is concerned, I will not tolerate that sort of attitude from any officer. I must say, I'm beginning to wonder just who is breaking whom.
There she is, pinching all our good stuff again. Oh, give me back my knitting.
That can
Mean
go.
bitch.
Oh, Miss Bennett! It's a wonder I missed it the first time. It could be broken and used as a cutting instrument.
Lizzie.
This is classified as a weapon.
Oh, I don't know why you don't take everything and get done with it.
I thought they did that a few scenes ago, took everything. Not much left to take.
No, I know.
Now you know why the walls are bare.
Yeah. Poor Sheila's arm and hand. She smashed it very badly, didn't she? She fell.
Actually, I believe that was from her being blown through a window in a blitz in London.
In London, yes. That's
Yes.
why if you look, she's always protecting her arm, and it's always crooked. It's terrible.
Well, there's absolutely no feeling about through her fingers. They're like rubber. That's right. So she had to learn to write with her left hand afterwards. So there. Now that lass, the other lass with the dark hair, I cannot remember her name. What I do remember is when she left the show, she wasn't earning enough money and she had a single mother all of a sudden. We were racking our brains trying to think what to give her, and Betty Bobbitt said, really, really what she needs more than anything is money.
Money. We had a whip round.
So I said, I've got an idea. We had a whip round. We actually raised quite a lot of money. And I went to a florist shop and I got a big, one of those big cellophane boxes. And I made all the flowers out of money and put it in a box. And, when she first received it, and so put other fern and stuff, she just thought it was flowers. And she realised that every flower was like a $20 note or a $50 note or a $5 note. Poor darling burst into tears.
Yeah, she did.
Because it's so hard giving someone money. It can be embarrassing.
Well, they were with us from the beginnings, some of these extras, weren't they?
They were, indeed. They were an integral part of the show.
Repairs to all the equipment you have damaged.
There she is, Erica, laying down the law.
See, it's one shot as well, so she had a lot of dialogue.
She did have a lot of dialogue, and it was usually monologue too. So she didn't have anyone to share the responsibility with.
Is that clear? It may interest you to know I had intended finding a replacement for Mr. Andrews as quickly as possible. However, if this is the sort of behaviour you're going to present, then I have no alternative but to drop the matter.
Well, the screws will only get rid of him too, so what's the point?
Yes, stick it, Mrs. Davidson. What you give with one hand, you take away with the other.
Well, you can't promise nothing because you've got to do what the screws tell you to do.
And we don't trust you anymore anyway, so there.
Onward, prisoners, sisters, marching as to war. 'Cause the screws of Wentworth treat us oh so poor.
we were working very, very fast too. I don't think a lot of people appreciate just how fast we were churning this stuff out. And two episodes a week. And, I mean, what's the most takes you ever did?
I can tell you exactly. It was a Friday night, and they'd left...
It's always Friday because we're so tired. You were laughing, weren't you?
Oh, of course I was. It was the most ridiculously written scene, and it was Julianne Newbold and I, and they'd left this scene. It was a very big scene to the end of the day because they thought, oh, well, these two are the professionals, you know, we'll leave them to the end because they'll do it really quickly. We're both in bed. It's semi-dark, and the script. It was actually Kendall Flanagan.
In bed together?
No, no, we were not lesbotic in that cell. Other cells, yes. It was Kendall Flanagan was directing again, and of course the 3 cameras were due at 6 o'clock to go over to the newsroom, and so we had to get this scene done ASAP. We started doing it, and we got a fit of the giggles because it was like a Monty Python sketch. Whose character could explain a worser life? Worser life? You can't say worser.
Just did.
Whose life would be the most hard done by? And so there were things like, well, when I was growing up, she said, my father used to bash my mother up. Oh, that's nothing, I said. My father not only bashed my mum up, he bashed me up as well. And then she said, and then my father raped me when I was 12. Rape? That's nothing to me, I said. I was raped by my brother and by my father. And then I was bashed up again. And it just got, you know, it was like I was born in a paper bag. That was luxury.
Mounting ridiculousness.
It was, and the more we tried to do it, the more we couldn't stop laughing. And first of all, you know, Kendall came over the tannoy and said, no, ladies, come on, this has got to stop. We've got 15 minutes before we do the news, and it's a long scene. The more they went on at us, the more we laughed. Eventually, all the canteen staff came in because you could watch Prisoner as it was being filmed, and they all used to tune in.
It's all around the studio.
All around the whole of Channel 10. You could tune in and watch what was going on. And eventually they could hear the laughing and seeing that no work was getting done. So people started to come in to see what was going on. Then in the end, the top dogs came in. And we had them all in fits of laughter. But eventually we had to do the same. But it took 17 takes. And I still think we hold the record unless you've got another story.
Oh, no, I haven't. I actually did most of mine in about 2.
So did we. We always did. But this one
because
scene,
we had to, pretty well.
We had to.
Plus, we were very professional. We worked very quickly. When Colette Mann and I actually were working up in Sydney together, when my character escaped and went to Sydney, the crew up there with whom we had never worked were astounded at how we used to fool around and muck about, you know, in rehearsals and all around. But the minute the cameras were on, was snap to, bang, one take. They were really surprised.
But you got used to that. You know, you had to. And sometimes they'd change the script on you because someone would realise, oh, you can't say that because last week you said this, or, you know, 4 weeks ago you said this. And so you had to be thinking on your feet the whole time. And I think that's why Australian actors are so good overseas. You know, they can't believe how we can do all sorts of different things.
We're so versatile because we have to be in order to survive. It's just not enough of any one kind of work to, you know, keep you in food regularly.
This is the end, isn't it?
Yes, this is the end of that scene, yes.
Of that episode, I mean.
People drive up, you know, to Channel 10 to this day just to take photographs of that wall of windows and lights.
Well, what's happened to my character? She was never seen again in this episode.
They must have run out of ideas at this point.
How many? That was about 30 seconds worth. We could have all been acting our tits off it. No, we all had to just bang on the bars. Oh. This song is still gorgeous, isn't it?
I think Alan Caswell's still making money out of it too, which is a good thing.
Did Alan Caswell write it?
Alan Caswell wrote that.
The
Yes, he
actor?
did. No. His name's not Alan Caswell, the actor.
Oh, Caswell. I thought you said Castle. Oh, Ian Kenny. Look at it all.
And we
Julie
had Lynn
Bates.
Hamilton come and sing with Alan playing his guitar at the 25th anniversary.
That's right.
Which was fabulous. That's a great song.
Friars Tucker, the catering.
The food was good too.
Yeah.
Had to be, otherwise the crew would have quit.
Yeah. The Travel Lodge gone. Well, how delightful seeing that again. Unbelievable.
Ansett. They used to fly us. Remember old Ansett? That's gone.
Oh, so many of them gone.
Used to fly us first class, remember?
Yeah.